is Richard Askham, and welcome to the very first episode of Season 1 of the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce podcast. We're going to try and find a snappier title for that as time goes on, because that's too wide for the screen, really. I'm delighted that you can join us today for our very first episode. I'm sitting in front of what was the original model and concept design for the Humber Bridge, of course, although the sunshine and the sunset there is a little bit more Californian than we're used to. I may be making that up, who knows? But I just thought I would throw a bridge in to have that feeling of Hull and Humber. I'm joined today by my first two guests on the podcast, Irene Keel and Anne Harrington from Sylvester Keel. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Richard. How are you?
Do you know, I'm all right, actually. It's just the beginning of September when we're recording this. I don't know how long I've been asleep, but I woke up today, feels like November. I was in Grimsby earlier on today, and the wind was whipping across the water, and it's a bit cold. So I guess, sadly, I'm here to say summer's over.
I think you might be right. I know quite a few people have had to put their heating on, which is shocking, but there you go.
It really is. And have you both had a nice summer? Anne, have you had a nice, the 3 weeks that was nice this year, did you have a nice time?
I did manage to have a week off while it was quite nice. So lots of time spent in the garden with the kids. So that was fantastic.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. So, and Irene, you always look as though you've been somewhere on holiday, and you're dressed particularly Mediterranean colours today. I like what you've done there.
Well, I just thought I'd brighten up what was weather-wise a bit of a dull day, but it's never dull when we're chatting, is it? Let's be honest.
I like that nice segue into the episode. So thank you for that.
Difficult.
So welcome to you both, and I will give you the challenge as well as anybody else watching or listening today to come up with a snappy title for the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce podcast. I was thinking of calling it the Chamber of Secrets. But then I thought we'd probably get sued out of existence by J.K. Rowling. And also it kind of suggests that the chamber's full of secrets. I think it's the other way around. I don't think enough people know enough about the Chamber of Commerce to know what it does, what it's for, who's involved. So in many ways, these podcasts are to explode the myths that may exist about the Chamber of Secrets. And Irene, you hold possibly the longest title, I think, in the history of organisations. Would you care to tell the listeners what your official title is, please?
Yes, I'm the Vice President of the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce.
You can't fit that on a business card.
No.
You need a scroll, basically, to do this. Whenever Anne, I don't know whether you've ever been with us, Anne, at the Business Awards, and I have to read out these job titles for everybody that comes on stage. It takes hours. Most people have gone home by the time we get to the end of their job title. So tell me, thank you for telling me. Now explain to me, what does the Vice President of the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce do?
Well, we meet for various meetings, because I also have another hat that I wear, which is the chair for the North East Lincolnshire Chamber Council. So we do quite a few meetings. We basically, the Hull and Humber Chamber, they lobby for local SME businesses to help people with legal affairs, HR, basically anything to do with business. No matter what size your business is, we're there to help you with advice for anything in business, really. We do a lot of work. We're not a political organisation, we're a business organisation. However, we do a lot of campaigning to try and bring right things to the area. So we do chat with various members of Parliament to try and get the right things for the area. I think
that's a really good point, actually, because I think a lot of people don't understand, in the nicest possible way, that an organisation that supports business and lobbies on their behalf does not make that organisation political, but it makes them a bridge between business and politics to a certain extent. And I think that gets lost a little bit in translation, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes. And so as Vice President, it is what it sounds. I'm the understudy to the President. So I feel like I'm probably could be classed as a bit of an apprentice right now. So I'm sort of shadowing Kirk, who's the President, and I'm sort of learning the ropes, because I go into the chair next March. So yes, I'm finding it really, really interesting. It's nice to get more under the bonnet, so to speak, to learn more about the chamber and how it helps people, because often when you're just a member, you don't see what goes on behind the scenes, and there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see, which is all for the good of the community, really.
It's interesting that we're recording this on the day of the presidential debate in the US, because there is a vice president over there that appears to have moved up from apprentice to lead actor, straight away. So we'll see how that pans out later. I've got an awful feeling I know how it's going to pan out, but there we are. But just go back to that point then, Irene, if you wouldn't mind. You're obviously a member of the Chamber of Commerce as a business. So you occupy quite a unique position in that you are a member of an organization that you also are charged with helping to run. And so in many ways, you've got the best of both worlds, because you fully understand as a member what the Chamber has to offer. But if you went, let's imagine I've just joined the Chamber of Commerce as a new SME in our area, in our region. What would be the best bit of advice that you could give to me to get the most from that membership?
My advice from experience, because we've been members, Sylvester Keel have been members for over 10 years, and my roles now have only become apparent from being members. The best advice I can give anybody is to take on board everything that's offered to you. Turn up to the events, turn up to the networking, turn up to the lunches, meet people, build connections with people, because there's many businesses that will have similarities to yours, and we all help each other. But if you don't make those connections and you don't turn up to the events, I've heard so many people that would say, oh, well, I don't really think I'm getting anything out of my membership. Well, it's like anything in life. You get out of it what you put in. So if you don't attend, you're not really going to build those connections and use the services, because there are a lot of services that are available to you in business. And also it's nice just to know that you mix in with quality businesses that you can bounce ideas off. I quite often pick up the phone or drop an email to somebody. Oh, I just wonder if you could pick your brains, or can you help me out? Do you know somebody who can do X, Y, Z? And that's where the Chamber is really useful. But I do think you need to use what's on offer to you and take every opportunity that comes your way to get the most out of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And life happens to those that turn up, doesn't it, really? Which is an old adage, but never not true. And Anne, you've obviously been working at Sylvester Keel for some time. How would you like to put a number of years on that?
I've been there for 2 years now.
Okay, so 2 years is probably not enough time to notice the difference that membership of the Chamber has made to the business, because they've been a member for 10 years. But can you touch on anything in your experience from your role where you've definitely benefited, and therefore the business has benefited from that membership?
There's the Westfield Health.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about that. Yeah, tell me about that.
So the Westfield Health is a bit of a health policy for employees, and it gives you the ability you can upgrade your plan, but basically you can get some money back for things you spend out on, such as opticians, dentists, but you can also access 24-hour GP support, you can access consultancy, you can get referrals for MRIs, so it gives you a lot of health benefits alongside. They have what they call a rewards app as well, where you can get certain money back vouchers for shopping, and it's a really, really good scheme for staff just to get a little bit back.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And Irene, I guess when that, how long has that policy been in place? How long have you been working with Westfield at the Chamber?
We've just entered our 2nd year. Okay,
so you are, I guess, already, and as Anne's alluded to, already seeing the benefits of essentially something that is there to bring benefits, and kind of comes back to your point about, when people say I don't think I'm getting anything from my membership. There's one thing straight away that we hear directly from Anne, that in terms of staff benefit for those member businesses, that's a great offer that you can then take back to your business and your team, and that's kind of like pays for itself in many ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I wanted to introduce to the company for quite a number of years, because obviously, we're in an age now where it's good to be, creating a positive workplace culture. And as an employer, we've got a duty of care to look after all of our employees. And at Sylvester Keel, our ethos is to do that. And I wanted to offer something back to the staff. We pay a monthly retainer, and it's a tariff, so you can choose as much or as little as what you want to contribute. The staff have then got the opportunity to keep it as it is, or they can top it up. They can add in siblings, they can add in partners. So there's quite a few opportunities, and it's quite flexible as well. But I know Anne's used it, and I've used it myself personally as well. It's really easy to claim. You just ring them up or drop them an email. That a lot of it's online, or like Anne said, there's a portal. But yeah, I think it's been very well received by our staff, and obviously that's why we've continued with it for another year, because we're really happy with it.
And I think, Anne, sometimes these benefit schemes are a little bit, they dress them up, but they don't necessarily deliver anything that you want, and you end up with a reward of 50p off something that you never wanted in the first place. I think with health, with it being so key to all of us at various points in life and for various reasons, that must give you a nice feeling of comfort, to work within an organisation that has that protection in place.
It does, and I found it really helpful because I needed to access over a bank holiday weekend doctor support for my daughter, and it wasn't something that I felt was a visit to A&E, but it was something that I didn't really want to leave until the following week, and because it's 24/7, I was able to do that, and she got an appointment, and she had a telephone consultation with the doctor, was prescribed some medication. We were sent the prescription to her phone, and we were able to go and pick it up. So instead of that condition getting worse, because it wasn't an emergency, we was able to deal with it, and that was all through Westfield Health, and it was a fantastic service.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And I guess as well, Irene, then going back to what you said at the beginning about people understanding not what their membership is, but what it's for. And in many ways, yes, of course, it's for the sort of what's the word I can think of, financial well-being, really, I suppose, of a member, is to be part of a larger organisation that you can tap into the economies of scale that larger organisation brings. Because of course the Chamber of Commerce isn't just Hull and Humber, it's the whole of the UK. Do you know how many national members there are of the Chamber?
I don't off the top of my head, no.
It's going to be thousands, isn't it? If
I would have thought so. But I mean, you've got that bigger pulling power, because we're like a subsidiary of the British Chambers. So, you've got that support and that kudos of the British Chambers. But sort of just backtracking to the Westfield Health, because it was through the Chamber, we got it at a discounted rate as opposed to just going out to market to any other health scheme. But the two main points, the reasons I undertook it, was because of Anne's point regarding the doctor's line, but also we're really interested as a company with health and wellbeing of the staff. And they offer a 24-hour health and wellbeing service, which also includes counselling, which for me, I thought was really good, because we do have a health and wellbeing coach who comes into the business. But this is much more private, that people can go and nobody would know about it. It's totally personal, and it's nice to offer people different avenues to access those services. So for me, they were the main points, really. There's gym memberships. There's quite a few, what I'd say, nice little perks to have. And as I previously said, I do feel the staff have really embraced it, haven't they? I tell you what else they did as well recently. When it was due for renewal, we have somebody that looks after us as part of Westfield Health. And he didn't he, Anne, and rang us up and emailed us and said, right, what more can I be doing? Can I send anything out to your staff? Can I give you any literature? Because we need to make sure they're getting the best out of everything that's available. And I thought, wow, that's really good. Because often you feel like they don't want you to use their services because, it obviously costs them. Yeah. But there was no shying away from that, was there, Anne?
No, and he's said on many occasions, obviously, if we have new staff members join, they would have missed that initial briefing that we all went to about Westfield Health and how it can support us. And he's offered to do sort of like little Zoom meetings with new staff if that's what they would like, to give them that more detailed information. I mean, I send out the information to them, so they do have that. And I have talked, when we get new staff, I do say, if you do want any further information, come and see me, and we can arrange that. But I think the information we get is really detailed anyway. And it's such a simple service to use. Once you get your registration number, you log in, and all the information is there for you. All the links are there for you. It's a really good service.
And you've done a great job there, both of you, of exploding one of the chambers of secrets, what these members' benefits actually are. Because I do think people get trapped in a feeling of, I know what that must be. I used to belong to this, or I used to belong to that, and it's it's a lunch here and a dinner there and what have you, and you know, it's not for me, thank you. But I don't think there's many employers out there that wouldn't have the health and well-being of their staff at the forefront of their thinking, apart from anything else from an obvious personal perspective. But also, a happy workforce is a productive workforce. So, you know, if you can combine all of those things and everybody wins, then everybody wins, and that's a direct link to that membership benefit is actually something of benefit to all members, isn't it?
Of course. And I was surprised when I investigated it further. It is a very affordable scheme. Often you perception is, oh, it'd be too expensive. We're only a small business. We can't afford it. It isn't a massive cost on a monthly basis. Obviously, it's per employee. So the more staff you've got, the more it costs. But I was very surprised, and I believe it's probably a reduced cost because it is through the chamber. But it is very affordable. So that was another thing that I was very surprised about and pleased to think, well, I'm only getting offered that because of my commitment and my membership with the chamber. But I also know they do have a legal service, they have an HR service, and they also have tax and finance access as well. So, you know, if you even if you're just starting out or you're an established business, it's still nice to know that you can reach out to the chamber and ask for that advice or use the services that are there. It's in your membership, so you know.
It is quite strange, isn't it, that the majority of small businesses, and we talked about SMEs, the majority of small businesses start life wanting to be a bigger business. You know, their ambition is to grow, and yet the first thing that they're met with are all the attendant hurdles that come with, you know, employing people and having premises and all of the stuff that goes around owning your own business. And here we are talking about an organisation that's existed for, as far as I know, hundreds of years, the Chamber of Commerce, in various guises, that provides all of those literally on day one. You know, and this is the bit that I don't think most people recognise about what the Chamber is there for. I do think they see them as a political organisation, and that's one of the reasons we're doing these podcasts, Anne, is to try and hear from as many different people across the Chamber of Commerce spectrum, so that people listening and watching this content can go, oh, I didn't know that. You know, and we are very good, I think, as human beings. Once we know something and we understand it, we're pretty good at adopting it. You know, COVID was the great example that once we all understood what the problem was, we all largely, not totally, but largely behaved. You know, and we're pretty compliant, I would say. Do you find, Irene, that in your dealings as Vice President, and I feel as though I should salute when I say that.
Please don't do that.
And maybe it's the, you know.
No.
Do you find in that role when you're trying to do what we're trying to do here and explain to people, you know, what the benefits of membership, do you feel as though you get enough time to do that? Is it always a bit of a sort of snapshot, almost elevator pitch, and people don't quite, what is it that isn't happening for people to not understand enough about the Chamber?
I think it's all about education. Like the point of these podcasts, it's educating people as to what it's all about and what's out there for them to access as a business. I mean, you hit the nail on the head earlier that I think a lot of people's perceptions that the Chamber is political, and it really isn't. There is a political, shall we call it, would it be an affiliation? But we're not political. We're a business organisation, and we're there to support and help local businesses. But I also believe that it's about longevity. Well, I'm like that as a person in my own business. We build long-term relationships. We're not here today, gone tomorrow. If you join anything within your business, whatever organisation it might be, you're probably not going to, you know, build those relationships and see the rewards in a certain time frame, say 12 months. And I think a lot of people's mindset is, oh, well, I've been in this, whatever, I've been doing this for a year, and well, I can't see. You have to have longevity and work at it. It doesn't come overnight, and it's about building those relationships. And that's the only thing I've done in business and in the Chamber. I've met so many people I think it might be 12 years I've been in the Chamber, and we just joined as a business like anybody else does. And it's opened doors for me personally, but it's also opened doors for Sylvester Keel and all the staff. I mean, the business awards this year, you were there, weren't you, Anne?
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, it's a great evening for the staff. We had a staff table to treat the staff. We also we always try and bring some of the apprentices. Well, they think it's wonderful because a lot of younger generation haven't attended things like that. It's a real feel-good factor, and you've got the students from the college, so you've got the synergy there with the students. And I just think it's a great event, and it's a great event for your business if you enter as well. We started out doing that. We entered a lot of years. It was a bit of a standing joke. We were always the bridesmaid, never won. But we kept going and we kept going, and eventually we won. So, but you've got to keep going. You can't think, oh, well, we didn't win, so we're not going to do it anymore. Yeah. You've got to keep trying, and we did. And now we're on, like, we don't enter now, but we still have a table. We sponsor an award. We treat the staff, and it's just a great feel-good atmosphere for the staff to be part of. So what business person wouldn't embrace that for their company?
That's very true, and I can only apologise for my jacket this year again. I've still got it, mind you. It's going to get another airing somewhere, I'm not sure. And I have already been talking to Anne about next year's event and the theme, which I won't reveal on here. But I'm hoping that she lets me come back and do another year. So we'll see. But you're right, it is a great event, and it's a celebration, I think, and one that I think opens a lot of people's eyes to just how strong and how broad and how wide that membership is in our little area of ours. To have 400 or 500 people in a room, all in their glad rags, having a nice time and handing out a few prizes is amazing, and that shows the depth and strength of the business community, I think.
I think as well as a business, if you're even if you're just nominated and you don't, it's not about the winning. If you're nominated, your customer, in the eyes of your customers, they think, wow, I'm dealing with a really great professional company. So it's not about winning. It's just about seeing your name up there in lights and showing that you've been chosen because you're committed to, what you're professional at, basically. And that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's an absolute treat. You mentioned just before we started recording something about the armed services, which I'm interested to hear a little bit more. So tell me, you didn't really tell me what it was. You just said, oh, don't forget to tell me about the armed services. So here I am reminding you.
Yes. Well, earlier this year, at the AGM for the Hull and Humber Chamber, we had the usual networking, then we had the lunch. And at the lunch, the Chamber have joined forces or collaborated with the Army Reserves that cover, it's a transport regiment that cover Yorkshire and the North East. And they did a talk at the lunch, which I always find the speakers at the lunch is really interesting as well. They're usually business, they could be a bit political, or just a business person, but this is the Army Reserves. And I don't know, it just touched a light bulb with me. I just really enjoyed it. And they'd got, forgive me because I can't remember his name, and if I try and say his title, I might get it wrong and upset him, so I'm not even going to do that. But he stood up and did a really great speech to all the lunch people about what the good they're doing in the area. They've basically, they talked about the cadets and how great that is, and for employers, if you get somebody who comes along for a job interview and they've got cadets on their CV, they're great to have. They talked about all the training and all the experience that people have if they've been in the cadets. There was all that sort of talk. And then they mentioned about a recruitment arm that they've got and how all the chamber members can use their recruitment arm, which I found particularly interesting because we do employ ex-military. We've already got 2 or 3 people who work for us. And as an organisation, I believe for us it works because we are we say a family business, which we are, but we treat all the staff like family. And I feel that the ex-military have that team family values, and it just works for us in our organisation. And so the recruitment side for me, I'm very interested in as well. But it was just really interesting, and I quite liked that joint collab that we've got going on with the reserves. They were talking about days out that they have, and you can go and visit, and they have like a full day fair where they do events and activities. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really, really great. So they're all things that you wouldn't probably know about if you weren't at the chamber lunch.
I think that's dead right, and that's another Chamber of Secrets moment, because unless you go, you'll never know. And we talked a bit before about services and benefits, but here's opportunities and adventure and experience and things that you probably you wouldn't even maybe even think you could do. But by going along, you find out actually that you are more than welcome to come and experience the life through the lens of the armed forces, which, so many of us don't even understand, what that can look like. I think that sounds like a great thing. Are you going to be wearing camouflage and
I don't know yet. I don't know. But I mean, for me as a business owner, it was interesting because, it's services that we can use and deploy in the company that we never knew about. So came away feeling empowered. I was energized because I enjoyed the talk. I learned a lot that I didn't know. I thought, wow, how can all this be going on my doorstep? I didn't even know. I just think, I must have my eyes closed so much. But I just didn't know. But for us, the recruitment and the interesting part about the cadets, most businesses now, I know we are very hot on employing apprentices, bringing the youngsters through the ranks and training within. And to know that they're out there it's really interesting when you don't know anything about it.
And that's the thing, Anne, isn't it? That we, if you're not careful, you can wander through life with the blinkers on, and you know what you know, but you have no idea about what you have no idea about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know about the cadets because my son was in the cadets, and he's now doing his training for the army. But the way that they're affiliated with the chamber, I have no idea about.
There you go. Another secret exploded. So, listen, we've been chitter-chattering on for quite some time now. That's how much fun it is to talk to you guys. So thank you for that. And thank you very much for both of you for appearing on the first episode of the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce podcast, Series 1. Going to make that shorter. By the sixth episode, we're just going to have one, be like, just that. So we'll nail that. But listen, Irene, thank you for your time. And Anne, it's lovely to meet you on here. And thank you for your time. It's been lovely hearing about your experience from the member side of the chamber. And of course, Irene's from the vice presidential side of things as well. So, but thank you for listening. Look out for this episode on all your social media channels. My name's Richard Askham. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us. We'll see you again somewhere soon. Thank you.